FYI. Okay, here I go. I'm gonna push continue.
Okay.
Live. Going live. All right, we're live.
Hi, good morning, everyone. So we're just going to get started in a couple of moments. Maybe allow a couple more attendees to come in, and then we'll go ahead and get started with the webinar today. So good morning all, and welcome to the inaugural webinar in our series from the LA County Department of Consumer and Business Affairs in the Office of Small Business and the Procurement Technical Assistance Center. Today, we're going to be discussing what to do next. Some introductions. I have Belinda Banuelos as our moderator today. She works in the Office of Small Business with me. She's my colleague as a PTAC counselor. And she'll be answering and fielding any of the questions that you all have. You're going to go ahead and enter them into the Q&A section on the right-hand side of the page. If there's any other technical issues or you can't hear me or there's an audio issue, please type it into that area as well, and she'll go ahead and let me know. My name is Jessica Mireles. I'm a senior small business counselor and PTAC counselor. I also work in the Office of Small Business for the Department of Consumer and Business Affairs. Today's webinar target audience is really businesses that have been registered and already obtained certification as either an LSBE, DVBE, and or an SE with the County of Los Angeles. And you're looking at what are the next steps and what to do now. So these are today's objectives. We want to make sure that you understand how buyers can find your business, know where to find a bid, where and how to bid on competitive solicitations, find who you should be contacting, research who buys what you sell, and where to get more help. Really quickly, you'll also be receiving a survey post the training, and I would encourage you to provide as much feedback as possible so we can improve our services to you. Also, if there's any suggestions on details that you want more information about, there's going to be suggestions about future trainings that you can provide your input on that survey as well. So county goals. So we have a 25% utilization goal of small businesses and 3% utilization goal of DVBEs, meaning that a quarter of all of the county's contracting dollars should be going to local small businesses, or 3% to DVBEs, which is disabled veteran business enterprises. Since 2016, we actually did enhance the bid preference from 8% to 15%. So we did ensure that you can receive up to 15% price bid reduction on an evaluated quote or proposal. We also raised the cap on what that 15% can comprise, meaning that your bid reduction can be up to $150,000 on your quote or proposal, depending on the lowest, most responsive bidder. So I'm not going to get details into how it's calculated, but again, it is based on the lowest, most responsive bidder after a solicitation has already been closed. So RFP, RFQ, IFB, RFSQ, and then simplified acquisition process. So these are all different procurement methods that buyers have available at their disposal to be able to interact with businesses or purchase from businesses on their goods and services. So request for proposal, request for quote, invitation for bid, and request for statement of qualifications are usually the most common that you'll see in county contracting. But today we're going to really cover simplified acquisition process, which again is only available to those businesses that have been certified as an LSBE, DVBE, or SE. So every department has what's called a delegated authority to award to a certified vendor from the amount of $5,000 to under $25,000, so $24,999. It does require a valid bid from 2 certified LSBE, DBBE, or SE vendors in any combination. And as you can see, there is on the chart, there is a requirement that any bid that's over $10,000 may need to go to public solicitation, meaning it needs to get posted and advertised for competitive solicitation. The only way to circumvent that process, if the purchase is between $10,000 and under $25,000, is the SAP. So it is a method for procurement officers to utilize to get more direct purchases or services from a certified vendor as needed. So anything over $25,000 will definitely be posted, regardless of whether or not a certified vendor is bidding on them. But again, that's where your 15% preference will really come into play. So commercial useful functions. So this is really important to LSBE certified prime contractors and subcontractors. You guys are required to meet this on any contract or purchase order. And it basically states the requirements are to execute a distinct element of the work of the contract. You must provide personnel, manage or supervise the work on the contract or PO, perform work that is normal for the firm's business, and not subcontract a portion of the work that is greater than expected by industry standards. So what does that really mean? It basically means that you have to do the work that you're hired to do. You really want to be transparent and honest with the contract administrators if you do have subcontractors, what they're going to be doing and what performance you're going to meet. You don't want to perform work that's unusual to you or not normal to your course of normal industry business practices. So now we'll go into a demo. So this is going to answer how buyers are going to find you. I'm going to go ahead and click on this website. So there's 2 different ways that a buyer for the county can generate what's called a bid list. So this is the general. And I think I'll zoom in a little just so you can see the screen a little bit better. So there are a couple ways to utilize this resource. It allows buyers to either search for specific companies, search by keywords. So if I'm looking for office supplies, I can enter that, and it'll pull up any commodity description that's associated with that. It'll tell me the region in which these businesses are located. So if you want to look only for those businesses that are inside the county of Los Angeles, it'll really dial in and filter that search. We can search by different states. We can search by different counties. We can see who has been awarded, who has not been awarded. And again, we can, down here is going to be where the actual bid list is generated for buyers or even public individuals to access this page. So this page is available to members of the public. So if you want to know, what other businesses are in your area or what other businesses are maybe working in a similar industry or someone that you can partner with, then this would be the way to do that. And again, this is just going to give general business information. It'll always provide the individual with the vendor code, the company name, the address, the contact information, and all of this information is getting populated from your vendor registration portal. So any information that you have here will be based on what you use to register initially. There's a lot of different filters that you can provide. So again, it helps generate a much more targeted approach to finding either services or products that are needed in the county. And this is the general one. So we're going to go in and we'll go ahead and look at the certified bid list generator. So the filters change a little bit. The commodity description is still here, so you can always still look by commodity and find out what other businesses are available in which areas. It'll tell It'll tell you which certification an individual has, where they're located in which supervisorial districts. And again, you can click on this and find out more information about each of these businesses. As you can see, it is a much smaller list because you're only looking at those individuals that are also certified, and it'll tell me when your certification expires, what your cert record number is, and again, contact info. If I'm just doing a general search and I just want to notify all certified vendors of an opportunity or solicit a quote from general vendors, I would go ahead and download the preference program entity listing, and it gives me an Excel sheet with essentially the same headers, and I can generate a bid list that way. So I'm going to pause here for some Q&A. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to enter them in now, and we'll try and get through as many of them as possible.
So the first question we have is, who would be interested in learning more about the UVC disinfectant lighting that will kill 99.9% of all mold, bacteria, and viruses similar?
So that's a great question. So what we're talking about, we'll actually get into that a little bit later to how to navigate the Doing Business portal. There are a lot of different departments that are going to be purchasing any type of sanitizing equipment, especially during this time. The county does have a special section where you can fill out an additional survey, and I mean, you still have to be registered. You still want to make sure that all the correct commodity codes that describe cleaning or, you know, sanitizing equipment or janitorial equipment are on your profile, to make sure that you are being brought up in these generated bid lists. But I mean, every department is really buying different sanitizing equipment, and we'll kind of go into that a little later. That's okay.
That's all we have for now. Go ahead.
Okay, awesome. So commodity codes and keywords. So that's kind of what I was just about to talk about. Was having the right commodity codes is really essential to making sure you're not being overlooked, or you're not missing out on notifications. So commodity codes do the following. They increase the visibility of your business. They provide an overview of what you do. They are important in creating a really robust profile for you on the county website. So you really want to make sure that you're including any commodity code that is going to be synonymous to what it is that you provide and or what services you complete. So example was trucking services. You also want to be sure to include things like transportation, hauling, you know, there's a slew of different commodity codes. And you really want to think of it as someone looking for you as a book in a library, not necessarily as intuitive as a Google search, where you can type in exactly what you're looking for and get exactly what you're looking for back. Commodity codes are not as, I would say they're not as inclusive in every facet. So you might specialize in training and public speaking training, but right now we only have consulting and professional development training as the commodity code. So you would have those types of descriptors to include in your profile, even though it's not exactly what you do. So this is kind of what the commodity code breakdown is. You always have the first 3 digits are always going to be the larger body. So art and equipment supplies, and then you're going to have subcodes or subclass codes that are going to be much more specific and, you know, relate back to what that general code is. So we'll go ahead and do a quick search. I always recommend searching by subclass. Class is great, but it only gives you like a few of the actual commodities that you might be looking for. It's not always as inclusive. And then you can search by different section here. So you can search by what you think the first word would start as, but if you just want to search by keyword, this is the easiest way to do it. Is to select subclass, type in a keyword, and then see all the things that come up. And there's going to be multiple pages that come up usually, because there's a lot that are relevant. And then find those that are going to be most relevant. So again, if you're doing public speaking training, you might do consulting service, education and training. You might also do training and service, training and instruction services, training and materials. There's a lot of different opportunities to kind of stack different commodity descriptions, again, to just give yourself a really robust list to make sure, one, that all the commodity codes that you have on your vendor profile are going to be something that is utilized and you'll get a notification for it. And so that if somebody's pulling up a list on, say, training, your business will be one of the ones that populates, no matter what type of training I'm selecting, if it's relevant to what it is that you do. And again, this is also a public website that is accessible, so I would recommend that if you only have 1 or 2 commodity codes on your vendor registration right now, that you go ahead and sign back in, and we'll show you how to do that really quickly. So this is where it actually requested that you put your commodity code descriptors when you registered as an LA County vendor. In order to change or update or enhance your profile, you do have to log back into that vendor registration portal, which is WebVend. If you have any issues, you can contact vendor relations. This is their hours, this is their contact number, or you can go ahead and try and email them as well. And again, it allowed you to do keyword searches and then add as you needed. So again, this is just a quick reminder. You want to be really comprehensive, but you don't want to add codes for work that aren't relevant to what you do specifically. So if you're a trucking service and you also provide hauling, great. If you don't sell equipment, don't put manufacturing in there. Don't add commodity codes that are, again, outside of the scope of work that you do. One, because you're going to get notifications for procurement opportunities that come up that are not relevant to you. And then 2, because if we go back and we look at, if we're doing an assessment of a business and we see that there's a bunch of different commodity codes, it could indicate a red flag that maybe you're not performing all of this work on your own, or you're not reporting all of the same subcontractors that you need to be to get that work done. Okay, so this is where we're going to spend a bulk of our time. We're going to do some doing business. So this is where you would find all the solicitations and opportunities that are over that $10,000 that are, not being bid with just certified vendors. It's also going to be a place where you can identify who to market to in terms of the right procurement officers and contract managers, and to learn about those potential opportunities, and then also to research past award data and enhance your profile. So this is doingbusiness.lacounty.gov. Again, you do not need to be logged in or registered as a vendor to access this page. This portal is public and can be accessed at any time by any individual, and we'll kind of just go really quickly over it. So if you are having trouble getting back to your registration, you can always do doingbusiness.lacounty.gov, and it'll take you back to your vendor registration. It'll show you open solicitations. It'll guide you through vendor self-service, which allows you to, again, manage different parts of your vendor profile and also submit electronically some of the bids that are available. And then it allows you to look at awarded contracts. So this is procurement data, previously awarded procurement data that you want to look at. It does give you an overview of the different certification programs. So if you are not certified and you're on this, that is okay. This is a good time to look into the different eligibility requirements of the certification programs that the county has to offer. It gives some data and some statistics, $8 billion of annual purchasing every fiscal year. So again, 25% of that to LSBEs would be about $2 billion. And we're actively looking for small businesses to participate in more of these county contracts to ensure that we're meeting those goals. What does the county buy? Pretty much everything. We buy a little bit of a lot. you can kind of go through the different areas here at the bottom. This is for the direct deposit website, and they also have additional resources on this as well. So let's go back to the top. So for vendors, again, this is another way to get to the vendor registration or vendor self-service, which is why those are blocked. Those are really important websites to have access to. And this is also how you can find out more information about certification programs. We'll go into resources. So this is a bunch of different resources. So this is a good place to spend some time just looking at different FAQs, understanding the different requirements that the county has. So for instance, the living wage program is a requirement that is posted on most public solicitations as part of the contract that you're going to have with any county department. So if you want to understand what the expectations are to participate in the living wage program, I would recommend going here. Tips on selling to the county, again, just additional collateral information that you can review for your to enhance your own profile and develop some strategies. This is the contact information for vendor relations, which again, if you're having any issues with managing your vendor portal, you really want to be able to access them. DCBA, this is our department. It'll take you to our website, which if you want more information about PTAC or certifications or registration with other government agencies, this will be really helpful in addition to all the other services that our department has to offer. Procurement officers and contract managers. So this is extremely helpful in giving you contact personnel who are going to be point people in each respective county department. So there are approximately 34 or so county departments, each with their own budgets, each with their own procurement needs, each with their own personnel. So these are either contract managers or procurement people. These are procurement officers specifically. So it gives you their contact information, which department they work for, and it won't really tell you, how to contact them. But for strategies more in depth about, what you want to send them, do you want to send them a capability statement? What are these departments specifically buying? That's going to be something that you can schedule a PTAC appointment for, and we can go into one-on-one counseling sessions with you on how to really strategize on contacting these procurement officers and or contract managers. So under contracting, the purchasing policies, contracting policies, terms and conditions for both commodities and services. This is just going to be, it's going to give you standard examples for what a contract looks like. I would encourage people to go through and read it. Most solicitations have the same terminology for general terms and conditions. Really just the statements of work tend to change. So if you really want to familiarize yourself with it so that when you do have a solicitation that opens up that you want to, respond to, you'll already have a really good idea about most of the information that's going to be included outside of the statement of work that changes. Same with different contracting and purchasing policies, really just will help inform you on expectations between what the county is responsible for and what our buyers or our vendors are responsible for. Master agreements are another solicitation opportunity. They are as a result of RFSQs. So when RFSQs get posted, the request for statement of qualifications is essentially asking you for different documentation to vet your business to be a part of an agreement for either specific listed products, to sell specific products, or to provide very specific services. And those pre-negotiated contracts can be for 3 to 5 years, typically, and allow different buyers another opportunity to get those services or products that are listed in these master agreements without having to go through public solicitation necessarily. So, another way to be visible. Okay, so let's go into view open solicitations. So in this, you can either search for a specific solicitation if you've heard of one. You can search by department to see which department is buying or requesting a bid for different products and services, or you can search by commodity if you want to search by commodity that you think is something that you want to provide. You select the item, you hit search, and it'll populate whatever records are available. If you want to just do a general search, so again, there's a couple different ways to get there. You can get to open solicitations from the landing page. And just let that load. And then if you hit search and you do not type anything into the search bar, it'll generate all the open records. So 210 records. And it will list the department, it'll list the due date, or if it's continuous, the type, whether it's service or commodity. And then it'll also give you the solicitation number, the title. And if you select any one of these, it will populate a little bit more detail. So it'll give you the contact name of the contract manager involved. It'll tell you, again, the closing date. And it'll give you a solicitation description. So one of the things that I will say is that although all departments, so the Doing Business portal really acts as a repository for all open solicitations. However, there are certain departments that also host their own procurement data. So I would be mindful that as you're reading through the solicitation description, it may tell you that there is additional information available at a different website that is the specific department's website. So you'll have to copy and paste the link. Usually you can't click on it. And it'll allow you to download additional attachments that are available only on that department website. So this really acts as like an advertising area for all the departments of the county. But again, you may need to follow up with each individual department depending on the solicitation and which is the hosting department. So these are open solicitations. So let's go back and then look at award data. So the importance of awarded contracts and of just doing general research on previously awarded information is that it will give you an idea of what the county has purchased in the past. So whatever we have already purchased, we're very likely to purchase again. And it's a great way to be just kind of abreast on either RFQs that are going to reopen or may have expiration dates that are, coming up or have recently passed. And to also see what are some of the commodity codes that are being utilized. So usually it'll at least list one commodity code, and it'll tell you right here in the left-hand column. And it's also always on the title page underneath the name of the solicitation. So consulting services, analytical studies, surveys. And then you can see that this is for the Department of Arts and Culture. And I believe they also host some of their own, solicitation information on their website. So you want to make sure that you go visit the department website to find out more information about this solicitation. And then you can also filter or sort if you want to sort by date. So there's a lot, again, this is just keeping a tally of all the purchases for the previous year or so, or any solicitations that are ongoing. And then it also gives you an opportunity to see who was the contract manager on that previous RFQ or RFP, and is the person somebody that I'm going to need to keep as a contact list. So if you're making your own contact list of individuals, usually the contacts that are listed under procurement officers and contract managers tend to be at like a management level or above. So some of these procurement personnel may not be the same personnel that you see on the other listings. So it's a good way to, again, find another contact person for the department that you're looking to do business with. So that's kind of the overall tour. Again, we did talk about, so the question earlier was who's buying different sanitizing wands or devices. The answer is everyone in the county is buying to some extent. I know fire had purchased a lot. ISD is mainly responsible, so the Internal Services Department is doing a lot of the coordination for personal protective equipment or related sanitizing products. So this is an additional survey that you can fill out. It will request your vendor ID number. So if you haven't registered as a county vendor, then I would recommend that you do that prior to filling this out, because if you don't include a valid number, they won't be able to follow up with your business. And this is pretty much the entire survey, and they're managing the survey results through the Internal Services Department. Let me pull this back up. So, quick pro tip, just make sure that you're being proactive on these county websites, and that you understand that there are about 35 departments, each one with separate goals, separate budgets, and that the county overall is a separate entity from city and the state. So again, this is just specific for county solicitations. You want to prepare yourself by reviewing prior bids and proposals, so that award contract data, if you want to go in and see who was awarded to, or what were the details of the actual agreement or solicitation when it was posted, you can do that through the award contract data as well. You also want to know all the information that's posted in the terms and conditions, again, just to familiarize yourself with what the expectations are. Know the lingo and request debriefings. So just by reviewing a lot of different procurement information, you'll start to get familiar with some of the more common language of these contracts or solicitations. Debriefings are really helpful. If you are attempting to compete on a bid and you're not awarded, you do have an opportunity to request a debriefing, and it will be a meeting between you and the procurement officer or contract manager that was doing the evaluation to review your specific application. So what were the strengths of your proposal? What were the weaknesses? How were you scored, and why? So again, that's all information and resources that you can use to put together a really strong proposal in the future, either on another solicitation or on this one if it comes around again. And then request a PTAC appointment. So all of our procurement technical assistance is free. We provide webinars, trainings, we do one-on-one counseling sessions, we review registration and certification. So if you are registered, but you're not sure if your profile is strong, we can review what your profile looks like on not only county registration, but federal registration, state registration, other local agencies. We can help you develop strategies and also do proposal review. We also have access to procurement data, so things like GovSpend, where it kind of aggregates all the open solicitations, so you can identify what other agencies are purchasing your goods or services and how can you target them. The best way to reach us and request an appointment is via email at PTAC, so ptac@dcba.lacounty.gov, which is listed there on the bottom. And I'm going to pause there for questions. So I kind of went through this a lot faster than I thought.
Okay, we've got a couple of questions. 1 second. So the first one is, how often are new bids posted?
So new bids are posted as needed. Because there isn't a specific schedule, you just want to check it semi-regularly. I would recommend at least integrating a practice of checking for open solicitations weekly. But if you are registered, if you do have all your commodity codes that are listed, then you'll also be getting notifications directly from WebVend based on your WebVend registration information for any solicitations that are posted that match your specific goods or service description.
Next question is, hello, this is Damian Correa with BBD Advantage Inc. We supply all things personal protective equipment. Is that website you are using to find commodity codes accessible to vendors? If so, can you share it?
Yeah, I believe we're going to share the PowerPoint presentation, and there are links to all of the different resources that are available. You should be able, it's the tamusvr.co.la.ca.us fire commodity / So that this should be distributed, I believe, and everything is clickable in the website.
The next is, I would like to refine my code listing by identifying them using your site, if possible. Thank you.
Yeah, you can definitely go through the website and start refining your commodity listing. That's the other thing, is if you have too many different commodities, maybe you're getting notifications about stuff that is just totally outside of the scope of what you want to do. I would recommend, for something so individual, to set up a PTAC appointment with one of us, and we can go through and look at, what you have that can be removed, or what you need to keep, and things like that.
So just to confirm regarding the contracting managers, we can reach out, connect, and create awareness with them for our services?
Absolutely, yeah. Their contact information is there to be utilized. If you have general questions, if you have a specific question that's related to posted solicitation, so something that is being bid, then only contact the contract manager or procurement officer that is associated with that specific service. So for this specific RFSQ, don't email the general contact from the animal care control department. You want to contact this person specifically. But for general information, for sending out a capability statement, for introducing yourself, absolutely, you can contact these contract managers, let them know who you are, keep it brief, tell them a description of your services, and see if they have any available purchases. And they may just, solicit a quote from you in the future that is under the $25,000 mark, or if you're not certified, under the $10,000 mark.
And the last question we have is, these links are very helpful. Can you share these website links after the training?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, I think we're going to provide a PDF version of this. So everything, all the links are all hyperlinked in the presentation, and you should be able to click on any and all of them. And then if you have any issues, again, you can always reach out back to our department, and we can either follow up with you individually if there's something that you wanted more information about, or if something wasn't working.
That's it. Those are all the questions we have today.
Thank you. Thanks, Belinda. I appreciate everyone being here, and thank you for your time today. Again, if you have any questions about the presentation, you can also email our general inbox, which is osb@dcba.lacounty.gov. You can also contact our office number. If you want the PTAC appointment specifically, though, please email the PTAC inbox. Everything will be distributed after our presentation, and you will be receiving a post presentation survey, and we really hope that you guys all have a couple of minutes to just fill that out. It's just a quick survey, just requesting some feedback. And thank you all for being here.
All right, so since there are no more questions, I'll go ahead and end the event. If you guys are curious, we do post our upcoming training events on our PTAC website. You'll find that at lacountyptac.ecenterdirect.com. So just keep your eyes peeled for our next and upcoming trainings, okay? Everybody have a good day and enjoy the rest of your week. Bye-bye.